about Thompson, they said they still don't know if it's going to be ADX-like in conditions. They don't know when it's coming online, and they don't know how much more money they need to open it. So cheerful black hole of information. Just need to make sure, I think, that in saying, yes, get rid of Letcher, we also say, but also we don't need another ADX in rural Illinois.
Thank you. We're going to move right along to commutations and pardons. And Mark Osler is here. He's going to give our update on that.
All right. Thank you, Nkechi. And, as Nkechi mentioned previously, the numbers are in from the Obama Clemency Initiative that 1,715 people got commutations, which is really remarkable, a historic use of this principled tool of the president. Bad news is that there's been nothing since January 20th, that there are over 11,000 clemency cases pending right now. As many of you know, with the support of Open Society and others, Rachel Barco and I started and ran the Clemency Resource Center and handled hundreds of cases, and we know who got it and who's still pending. And in many cases, the cases are indistinguishable from one another on any rational basis. So there's a real and deep tragedy to what's not happening as we've got this giant number of lives piling up. What's gone wrong? The pardon attorney, Larry Coopers, by all accounts, is continuing to process cases and make recommendations. But the steps in the process of evaluation above him are Rod Rosenstein, the Deputy Attorney General, and Doug McGahn, the White House counsel, both of whom, by all accounts, are pretty busy and not paying attention to this at all, which means that those numbers are going to continue to grow as petitions are filed. Now, is it worthwhile to add to that pile that's stacking up, probably in the DAG's office? Maybe. It depends on the case, but there's really not a reason, from what I'm able to discern, for hope that there's going to be a large number of grants anytime soon. So what to do? There's really four things that are worthwhile right now. And one is that, for many, many people who work with students on this, it might be worthwhile to take a look at compassionate release under 3582. Where that doesn't go through the president, and it's still the same kind of thing of developing a narrative and telling the whole story. Second, there are a lot of people rolling around Iowa right now thinking about running for president. What has gone wrong time after time after time is that when we have the political debate, when we have the discussions about who should be our president, we never talk about clemency. What we have an imperative to do is to raise that as soon as we can, early on. If you have a candidate that you support, if you have several that you're looking into, encourage them to develop this as a part of what they talk about, because it will be an issue once someone comes into office. Third, the states. There's a lot of opportunity to do good things in the states right now. And I'm tomorrow, in fact, going to go back to Minnesota and go to clemency hearings in our state. And one of the things that provides a real opportunity is that you might expect there'd be a red-blue divide, that blue states would have good clemency programs and red states would not. And that's not true at all. South Carolina is one of the highest functioning clemency systems in the United States. Two of the biggest failures, Vermont and Minnesota. And what that means is that there's concentrations of progressive activists in states that have a problem. So let's get to work there while we can. And the fourth thing, and maybe the most important, and this is the takeaway from the experience we had in the last 4 years, and many people in this room worked hard and sacrificed in the effort for clemency. But there was one turning point. Before this turning point, not that much happened, and after, a lot happened. And like so many other things, it's because of Nkechi in large part. But in March of 2016, President Obama went to lunch with people who received clemency. That was the turning point. After that, we saw hundreds. We saw the flow really picked up. And there's a reason for that. And those stories of the people who are out, who are free, to humanize them is really going to be important going forward. And we have an opportunity in that those 1,715 people are out now. and we can tell their stories. We can talk about what they're doing now, how they're reentering, what they're contributing to society. I have this remarkable experience over and over right now, which is that I'm in my office grading papers, and there's a knock on the door, and I look up, and it's somebody, I wrote the story of their life, but I've never met them before. A couple weeks ago, Rudy Martinez knocks on my door. 27 years in prison, and we go out to lunch. And I want to tell you a story. This is going to be quick, okay? But my son's visiting. He's home for the summer. He's a junior at Yale. We go out to lunch because he was there, me, Rudy, my sons. And my son says, well, what happened, in prison? And Rudy said, I read a book for the first time. And Micah asked him, so what'd you read? And they start talking about books. And they were talking about books I've never read. And Rudy's saying, I never thought Cervantes would be so funny. That's what it's about. That's what we can get to, and that's why we need to tell those stories.
All right, thank you. And just before we move into state issues, I just want to say that Cynthia Roseberry, who was the executive director of Clemency Project 2014, I just want to congratulate her. She's the new executive director of the Council for Court Excellence. So I just wanted to make that. And